Hi, Dhanniya. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule, that too on a weekend, to attend this interview. We call this as a fireside chat on future of work. So we are interacting with a series of leaders in the industry in India to understand their views on future of work. Post-pandemic, many things have changed, and especially the hybrid work model. So we thought we will pick your brain on some of your thoughts on how things are changing in the employee landscape. Right. So thank you so much for being part of this interview.
Thank you, Jen, and Team Micrographio for inviting me to do this fireside chat. This is a topic very close to my heart and very passionate about as we see the evolving trends of the hybrid workplace. So pleasure to be here and share my thoughts with you.
Great. Now that I picked that keyword hybrid, so I'm just going to ask you the first question around that topic. Hybrid work model is something new that we are hearing in the IT industry, especially. Uh, People have options right now to work from home, work from anywhere, work from office. So, what are your thoughts on how this model is turning out to be, and how does it impact the work culture going forward?
Great question. And I think the IT industry has actually seen the best of hybrid and the worst of hybrid in a way, if you can say that, right? Initially, when the lockdown was announced, it was complete chaos everywhere. There were customers insisting that people have to come to office to work, especially in industries such as FSI, where contracts were with Indian were awarded to Indian employees, and then there was this huge coordination with NASSCOM going on to declare IT industry as an essential service and to ensure that there is no disruption of work. And I think the industry actually tided over this extremely well. So much so, they've got to a point of great productivity as well as cost optimization and ensuring that none of the timelines are affected or any of the deliverables are affected. So that has been the evolution of the hybrid workplace for the post-pandemic piece of the IT industry. But as it's moved on, there are many things, and we recently conducted a work trend index, and some of the findings were that for employees to come to office, it has to be worth it. So people have realized that work is just one part of life and there is a lot more. And yet if they can find a productive way to contribute the best to work, without messing up their work-life balance, then why not? So employees have a new worth it equation, and they need to feel the need to come to office to deliver the same stuff, right? The second piece that we are observing is managers are feeling wedged between their leadership and the employee expectations. So while there is a sort of guidance coming in from top saying, hey, let's get back everybody to work because we are losing a lot of the social mileage when people actually interact in an office. But at the same time, employees, especially millennials and the Gen Z, have a different set of expectations. Gen Z specifically because they've seen most of their work life being out of home, and they do not know what they're missing out by not coming to work. So it really needs for leaders and managers to make it worth the office commute for people to come to office. So these are few things. Rebuilding social capital becomes extremely critical in a hybrid world. To understand, especially for new joinees, there is so much that they can learn through mentorship, specifically in a matrix organization, where just by having a coffee with a buddy or with a manager, they learn so much more. And that social capital becomes very important in a hybrid world, which one should never underestimate. So it's an evolving trend. We really do not know where this is headed, but it's interesting to watch it and to ensure that productivity stays constant through this journey, Jen. That's my view.
Oh, fantastic. In fact, the second question that I had in my mind was, how is the IT industry coping up with this change? You did touch upon the managers and the leadership team while addressing the hybrid work model. You've been interacting with several leaders in the IT industry in India for very long. What are you hearing in terms of how they are reacting to this change that has happened during the pandemic and post-pandemic?
Well, yeah. So they have been, I think, the way IT industry has responded and reacted to it. As I mentioned, this has been a wave. And at one point in time, everybody thought there was a lot of productivity and, lesser costs and lesser travel time, and still deliverables were getting, not stopped, or in terms of nothing being taken away by in terms of their final delivery to their customers, right? So everybody was very gung-ho about it, but now slowly they are moving to a mode where the leaders from top are encouraging people to come to office, so that the benefits, our new reality is actually hybridity, which means it promises the organizations the benefits of remote working, which is increased flexibility, reduced carbon footprint, labor cost optimization, increased employee satisfaction, along with the strengths which are traditional strengths, which is working together, as in being face-to-face, smoother coordination, informal networking, stronger cultural association, etc. Right? So they are slowly encouraging people to start coming to office. You're aware of TCS having announced the 25-25, saying that by 2025, only 25% of workforce will really need to come to office. But the same TCS has sort of changed its stance, saying that, hey, let's try and get as much and as many people back to office as possible. So I think, and leaders are actually, many of them have started already coming. Certain Wipro announced that a certain band and above, they will definitely come to office 2 to 3 days a week, and thereby they have started leading from front and encouraging, employees, the rest of the employees also to come to office. So, in this entire hybridity conundrum, there's, you can also see certain evolving sources of power that coming in, which is like hybridity of position and hybridity of competence. When somebody is present, and when I say position, when somebody is actually present in that office, able to hobnob with superiors, with mentors, with sponsors, they have a lot of advantage. And working in an office with the latest infrastructure, being on top of the current developments, all of that are the benefits of being actually in office amongst your peers, right? Whereas when you're working from a remote office, yes, now the infrastructure has scaled up considerably, but you do not have the benefits of the social networking. You might be a little a tad behind your other peers who are actually in office with the rest of the folks. So that's the hybridity positioning, the benefits of power, the position power equation. The second is hybridity competence. There are some of us who are extremely comfortable, whether you're speaking face-to-face to a person or you're on Teams, you just have a way to get things done. Not everybody is like that. Some people are a little reticent. That half hour is all they get. They do not follow that through with other meetings or phone calls. So they lose out the not everybody comes with the competence of managing in a hybrid world. So I would think it's, hybridity positioning and hybridity competence, and the IT industry and the leaders associated are trying to navigate and make it as much as possible equal world of sorts, so that people do not feel disadvantaged by working away from office. And, and I think managers have a very, very important role to play in this entire exercise. So that's my point of view there.
Super. So I'm hearing hybridity positioning, hybridity competence. Okay, I'm going to bring in a third factor, which is hybridity behavior or hybridity culture. Do you see change in the way the employees behave while they work on this model? Meaning they've been out of action from office for almost 2 years from home. Then they are now the beneficiary of the hybrid work model where they can choose the days they can come into office. Is the HR or the leaders, are they seeing any change in behavior of these people, positive and negative?
Yeah, that's where I will bring in another concept, which is the hybridity paradox, right? So while I said the millennials and Gen Z prefer to work from home because they're so used to it, it gives them flexibility. They are actually the ones who are missing out the most by not being in office and the benefit of learning from their peer groups. Right. And some of them, and actually even in Microsoft, the last 1.5 years to 2 years, we've had almost 50 to 60% new joinees because we have also hydrated our employees quite a bit. We've recruited quite a bit. And this 40 to 50%, especially in a metrics environment, it is not very easy for them to be able to pick up all the nuances, where to go for help. Many of the times employees, and not just Microsoft, anywhere, they are slowly starting to burn out with, with having to work hybrid, just having that half hour, 1 hour Teams call or any other remote way of functioning, and they're starting to burn out. They're not learning enough. They are feeling overwhelmed by what they need to do, and they feel the need many a time. And the feedback has come in when we did a survey amongst our employees that, hey, we'd love to come to office and learn from our superiors and our peers. So that is one part of the hybrid paradox. The other part is also, if you're going to push employees to come in every day to work, it is going to create, and we've been hearing about the huge attrition that the IT/ITES industry has been going through, almost 35 to 40% in some cases. Many of these people have come from tier 2, tier 3 cities into the metros, and during the pandemic they've gone back to their home locations, and thanks to the good connectivity they feel that they've been able to deliver as well, and it's a reduced cost of living also when they live in the closer to their homes, right? And they have the extended family supporting them, young couples who have children. The parents are there to take care of them when they're working. So there are a lot of benefits that they have gained by virtue of the remote working ability. Now, to ask them to give up all this and push them to come back to office is also going to be counterproductive, especially with this underlying landscape of attrition all over. So they start moving from one organization to the other, which promises them the benefits of working remote. So it's both positive as well as negative. As I mentioned, people are yearning to be in offices, a certain cross-section to learn well. And another part feels that they will not be able to give up the hybrid or the remote working work-life balance that they've achieved, and the cost of optimized living, the better work-life balance, etc., that they've achieved. So that's where it's trending, and I think people are waiting and watching. The IT industry is also going through different challenges. For instance, if a person joins in a remote office in a tier 3 city, the time taken to be able to ship a laptop to that person, to be able to coach him on what all are the new onboarding stuff that he has to do and make him really billable, they're losing almost 15 to 20 billable days. And, they've approached us as Microsoft saying, hey, do you have an option where they can just log in with a thin client and you can stream the entire productive desktop onto them? My Windows 365 offers that feature. So can you give something like this so that we don't lose a billable day? And this is 15 to 20 billable days lost. So many trends are being observed, Jen, as part of the hybrid paradox.
Wow. Okay. So now you kind of mentioned tier 3 in your answer, but so that takes me to the next question. A lot of them are looking at tapping into the local talent in tier 2 and tier 3 towns and cities. Like, for example, Tirunelveli in Tamil Nadu was never heard of as a IT destination. Now, I know an organization that has set up its COE there in Tirunelveli, and they've taken the entire lot, I think around 100 of them from in and around Tirunelveli. So do you see this kind of reverse migration, de-urbanization happening in the IT industry, where organizations would love to go to where the talent is available and then make it easy for everybody? But you did tell that onboarding is an issue, but keeping that aside, I'm sure Microsoft would one day soon solve that challenge for IT organizations. But keeping that aside, you think, is it a good idea from an employer standpoint?
It is a superb idea, and I am hoping that it comes to life with much more intensity, much faster than what one would um, practically think will happen. As Microsoft, we are extremely committed to the concept of skilling and socio-economic development in the in the tier 2 tier 3 cities, and we are doing a lot of programs. Microsoft Philanthropies works on partnerships with the government, with the National Skill Development Corporation, to get to reach up to around 1 million people, 500,000 to be certified and 60,000 to be employable in FY23 itself. And it's part of our overall ESG initiatives, where Microsoft wants to get to carbon negative by 2030, water positive, and zero waste. All of these three to be achieved by 2030. So with the way we are running our data centers, the way we are ensuring skilling in in the non-metro cities, working closely with government on these initiatives, I really hope, and you are aware of the type of engineering colleges that we have in the non-metro cities. There is a proliferation of talent out there. So if we can really get to a model where we tap in talent locally, ensure that there is minimal strain on our environment. The metros are literally bursting at the seams with the amount of migratory population that has come in. We witnessed the recent floods in Bangalore. So I think this can be probably the best thing, that if organizations like Microsoft can work along with the government to help with skilling, and if organizations like Micrographio can set up set up work environments that are conducive, that are secure in such tier 2, tier 3 cities, it is a great favor that we will be doing to our environment, actually, if we can manage this coming to life.
Amazing. Do you see Bangalore getting back to its greener days?
Tough one, Jen. That's going to be a very tough one, especially in the in the IT hub part of Bangalore, which is the Whitefield and the in the Outer Ring Road. But would love to see it go there at some point in time.
It will,
and think of these employment opportunities that we can generate. I mean, not everything can start off with high skilled labor requirements in the tier 2, tier 3. Maybe we can start with a lot of work on the low code, no code, BPO work, etc., and then slowly start building from there. And look at it, we can take care of everything there. The hybrid positioning I talked about, hybrid competency, and the hybrid paradox, because you have the benefits of still being in offices, still having social capital being tapped into, all the right infrastructure being provided, and people being closer to their homes, and younger families having all the other social benefits that I talked about, the cost of living, balance of work and life, and being close to their extended families. So it is the best thing that can happen to us as a country, given the type of skills that we actually have and which we need to sort of propagate.
Absolutely. So now that brings me to the last question. Moonlighting, quiet quitting are the keywords of the season now. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously all of us know that moonlighting is not the right thing, and people who do it are also aware. But I think who doesn't want to make a quick buck, right? So if you have time, and if you think you have the capability to deliver the work and not deliver less than best quality, then you feel that, okay, it's fine for me to work in a parachute mode. I go into one project, deliver that. I go into another project, deliver that. So what wrong am I doing? That's the thought that's coming up, So we'll have to wait and watch. I think people will want to feel that they're giving their best to their jobs, and not sort of being less than optimal in what they deliver, right? So, but yes, there is the constraints of when you enter a proper job, there are certain things you can do and you cannot do. I really feel, given all this landscape of attrition, it will take some time for the IT organizations to be able to really control this. They can bring in strict measures, but that will be at the cost of attrition, right? So we'll have to wait and watch, Jen. I don't have a diktat on that as yet.
Absolutely, because we hear contradicting opinion from industry leaders, right? And I think it's like you said, it's a wait and watch. End of the day, it's a question of ethics, right? And everybody is conscious about that. Then I think things will move in the right
One is a
direction.
question of ethics, other is a question of capability. A person who's very ethical actually genuinely feels ethically he can deliver 3 jobs at a time, right?
Right.
Now, how do you bring that within the framework and ensure that, hey, he understands
Yeah.
that it really is not? So that's a question.
Yeah. Very true, right? So anyway, but I think interesting times ahead because I want to certainly see how these things are evolving over time, starting from hybrid work to moonlighting to quiet quitting. So hopefully things will fall in place. But thank you, Dania, for your wonderful opinion on all of the questions that I
My
had with
pleasure.
me. Probably I would love to have another session with you with few more questions and then take it from there, depending on whenever you are available.
We can work
So
on it. No problem at all.
thank you.
Thank you.